felt like you're the one that's holding yourself back, staying quiet in meetings, or maybe playing it safe on social media, or really kind of just hesitating to take that next big step? Well, what if the key to unlocking the next level of your success wasn't just a strategy or marketing hack? Be pretty amazing, right? What if it was just simply learning how to unmute yourself? Well, that is what today's guest, Rachel Druckenmiller, is all about. She is on a mission to help people and organizations break free from self-doubt and step into their full potential. She is an award-winning keynote speaker, a TEDx speaker, a singer, a songwriter. She's been recognized by Forbes, Smart Meetings, and Workforce Magazine for her work in leadership development. And she's worked with some of the top organizations out there like Citizens Bank, Sherwin-Williams, the American Heart Association, just to name a few. She's worked with all of them to inspire leaders and teams to lead with confidence, courage, and connection. Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what it really means to unmute yourself, both in life and in business, and how you can start on that mission today. So if you're ready to stop playing small and start owning your voice, well, this is one conversation you are not going to want to miss. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me on today's show.
Oh, let's go. I'm excited. This is going to be something we can promise people. We're going to positively provoke them, get them to see things, including themselves, a little bit differently and walk away feeling a greater sense of their own capability. That's my goal.
That's the thing. I think as entrepreneurs, man, we can be like our own biggest advocates, but we can also be like our own biggest obstacles. And self-doubt, man, like there's times where I'm like, business is good, work is good, everything's going good. And then all of a sudden it's one small thing. And then the self-doubt takes over my entire life. I want to just kind of start there because I think that that's something that so many of us as entrepreneurs struggle with is that self-doubt. So what practical steps do you recommend people take to help unmute themselves and start leading with confidence?
So I think a lot of it is there's a lot of inner work related to this. And, I find that we mute ourselves. I've asked thousands of people, I speak all across the United States. And one of the main questions I ask people is to tell me ways that they are silencing themselves, doubting themselves, as you mentioned, or holding themselves back. And the most common response that I get is that people are doing it because of fear. So fear of failure, judgment, rejection, not being good enough, being too much, rocking the boat, causing conflict, disappointing somebody, being seen as an imposter, being found out. There's all the fears that are driving us. And so the question to start that I like to ask people to think about for themselves is, what is your fear costing you? What is it costing you to be silencing yourself? What is your doubt costing you? And it's usually costing us something in terms of opportunity to have impact. It's costing us opportunities to make more money. It's holding us back from advancing and having the impact and influence that we're meant to have at work and in the world. So I think first and foremost, instead of, so often we want to get right to tell me the 5 steps I need to take.
Yeah.
And I think the very first step is looking at yourself in the mirror and asking, what is one way that you are holding yourself back that you'd like to overcome? And what is the cost of letting your fear and doubt dictate what you do instead of stepping forward and doing the thing that you want to do, that even the smallest part of you knows you're capable of, but that some part of you is telling you that you're not. So that for me is there's other parts, but that for me is the very first part. What is it costing you to silence yourself and to doubt yourself?
Like I said before, as entrepreneurs, so often we are our own biggest cheerleader. There's a reason why we wanted to start our own business. We're passionate about something and we wanted to see a reason for change. We wanted to do things differently. But then it also really just, the smallest thing can give us that self-doubt. I love the whole concept of that you've put together of living unmuted. Mm-hmm. And can you share, I guess, a personal story where you felt muted and how you were able to help find your voice? Because I think it's really powerful to hear how this concept really kind of came to fruition.
Yeah, it's been so many areas of my life. So I find that it's sort of like a peeling back the layers of the onion, that unmuting is I view it as a process as opposed to an outcome. So it's not that we're going to arrive at a place where I am unmuted and now I have no doubt and I have no fear and I never question myself and I always express myself fully and I always feel authentic. That's not realistic. No one's ever going to do that. No one that I know or have met, at least. We all end up kind of going back to some of these places. And, so for me, there's been so many areas of my life that have been muted. But the one that stands out the most to me, I went through an experience in 2017. There's two, but one is directly related to work and one is related to a passion, which then dovetails back with work. In 2017, I was the director of well-being at the company where I worked. A year earlier, 2 years earlier, I'd been recognized as the #1 health promotion professional in the United States. And I was at the top of my game, like awards, accolades, got on my first keynote stage in 2016. I felt like I was absolutely crushing it. And then the weight of that started to wear on me. And I thought, oh gosh, I have to always be the best now. I have to always be the best. I have to always have the answers. I have to have the best ideas. Oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure. That's a big burden. I can't ask for help. I can't ever look like I'm incompetent. I can't ever look like I don't know what I'm doing. And so any doubts or fears I have, I'm going to suppress them because nobody can know.
That's one of the things too with social media, right? We're so used to having to just share, look at all the things I've done, look at how far I've gone, like we'll see all the stages that I'm speaking on, whatever. I've hit this business milestone. But a lot of times it's seeing all that on social media really makes that self-doubt creep in, like, oh man, look at what Rachel's doing. What am I doing wrong? And here you are saying, like, yeah, here I was feeling like I had to get this next spot. This is going wrong, but I can't share it. I have to hold it in, and it must be something that I'm doing wrong, right?
Yeah. And then, I mean, what for me, the catalyst was that I burned out. So in February 2017, I burned out and got Epstein-Barr virus, which is a form of mono, lost my voice. My job was my voice. So I thought, oh, this is a tricky situation to be in. And I went through a journey with a coach at the time. I learned about something, a really great book I'd recommend people to check out. It's very heady. It's written by 2 Harvard professors. It's called Immunity to Change. Immunity to Change. She was getting trained in this coaching methodology and she needed a guinea pig. I said yes. And we worked at, and anyone that's listening could think about this for themselves. We worked at what was an improvement goal. So what's a goal that I had of something I wanted to do? And my improvement goal was I wanted to trust myself and put myself and my message out there in the world more consistently. Because I was holding myself back from certain things. I knew I wanted to speak full time. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but the safety net of a corporate job was holding me back from a lot of that. And then we worked through a series of months of going through other different questions, and beneath it, so all of us we have goals that we want to accomplish, but then beneath it, there are assumptions that we are making about ourselves, about the world, about what's possible that get in the way, that sabotage us and prevent us from hitting that goal. So I had to arrive at what they call the big assumption. What is the big assumption underlying why you are not doing the thing you say you want to do? And for me, the big assumption that I arrived at was, if I trust myself and put myself out there, people won't accept me and I won't be good enough, or I won't be the best. And then that means if I'm not good enough, then that means I'm not lovable. And who would love a nobody?
Wow. I mean, like for me, like it's crazy how it's just that one thing. Really, it seems small, but it's this huge underlying boulder that's in front. It's not a pebble that you can just knock out of the way. It's a boulder that you have to go all the way around, figure out a way to get around this thing, because it's so much more than just, oh, well, what if I don't do this? It's not a big deal. No, there's all these underlying issues that, really that's what's holding you back.
That's what's holding you back. And that was an identifier of, oh, this is what's holding me back. I think if I'm not the best, if I'm not impressive, if I'm not performing, for some people it might be if I'm not being helpful, if I'm not being useful, if I'm not standing out, if this post didn't get 7,500 likes or whatever, then, and we tell a story about what that means, then I am not lovable, then I am not acceptable, then I'm not going to make it, then I have failed. There is a story that follows our perceived failure or sense of lack. So what I had to do after that was I had to start to get clarity around who I was independent of what I did, which my whole life those were the same. I'm a
Yeah.
performer. I excel. I get good grades. I get awards. I'm impressive. I'm an achiever. I had to have conversations with people and, get them to share things with me. Like, can you, tell me about a time when you've seen me at my best, or what What qualities do I bring into a room? And having some real honest, vulnerable conversations with people and really receiving the things they were saying, people that knew me well, letting them to pour into my life. I refer to it as borrowing other people's belief in us. And I wrote a song about it. It's called Believe in You. You can find it wherever you listen to music. This idea that, the lyrics, the first part of the song is like, do thoughts ever cross your mind? Like, who do you think you are? Do you really think you have what it takes? And how did you get this far? And that's, I think, it's a very common thought that a lot of us have. And so my encouragement is to borrow other people's belief in you. Think about anybody that's ever affirmed you, acknowledged you, validated you, supported you, vouched for you, referred you. Those people see something in you that when you are full of self-doubt, you are blind to, you are missing it. And so I think that's one of the best ways to start to overcome self-doubt is to invite people in that really know you, that you trust, and invite them in to share with you, hey, this is what I see in you. This is the gift. This is a gift you've given me. This is how you've positively impacted my life. And I wrote those down. I documented all of it. And I put it all in a Word document. And I had a reference point to go back to say, the days you doubt yourself, this is actually how you're perceived by people who really know you. And that was a game changer for me.
So, would you say that self-doubt is one of the main reasons so many entrepreneurs get led to burnout? Is the self-doubt? Because obviously the self-doubt is just a small part of something that's bigger.
Yeah, I mean, the self-doubt I think is really rooted in a lack of worthiness. And I experienced that in my own life. And so when we feel unworthy, that's a really painful place to be. When we feel unworthy, we tend to push ourselves. We hustle more because I need to prove myself. I need to show you that basically, I need to show you that I matter. And when we push ourselves to do that over and over and over again, we think that getting recognition is going to do it. We think that getting accolades. I got the top award in my entire industry. And I felt so incredibly empty. So this perception that that's going to come, and I still care a lot about achieving. I love when I get awards. It feels great. My ego's like, oh, this is amazing. And at the same time, I know that that is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. I mean, my dad refers to it as like, eating Snickers bars instead of a well-rounded meal of, salmon and broccoli and sweet potatoes or something, right? That you get a quick hit, you get a quick sugar hit, feels good for an hour, and then you're looking for more and you're looking for more, and it's relentless. And I think that is very true with many people's experience on social media. I have to get my next hit. I got to get my next hit. That tells me I have value. That post didn't get likes. It didn't get shared. It didn't get comments. I don't have value. That is not true. It is not true. So surrounding yourself with people that see your value independent of what you do is so critical to be able to get through self-doubt and to not end up in a place of burnout.
You shared 2 great tips already between finding the people that are willing to give you that candid feedback about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And then you also shared, what you can say to yourself in the mirror to kind of help boost that morale. What other tips would you have for somebody that might be like, okay, that's a really good idea. Who should I first of all ask to give me that feedback? Like, should I ask my husband? Should I ask my mom? Who should I ask? Should I ask my clients? Who are some people that can give you that honest feedback? Do you have like a top 5 list of people that you can go to if people want to start kind of building out their, hey, this is who I am. And it's so much more than a social media agency owner. It's so much more than a realtor. It's so much more than whatever. Who do you recommend people go to kind of build up that self-worth and identity morale?
I mean, it's more so a type of person. So it's somebody you trust, somebody who has seen you in different areas of your life navigate not just work. They know a little bit more about your relationship. They've seen you interact with a partner, with your kids. They have been with you in a social setting. A lot of times people will start with a best friend because that person is your safest spot. And sometimes it's really helpful to start with a place where you're going to get a guaranteed win. If someone is one of your best friends, one of your best clients, of starting with someone like that. I mean, most people's fear, if I ask somebody, they're going to say I'm the worst. They're going to say nothing. They're not going to be able to come up with an answer. And the fact of the matter is, if you're intentionally vetting, you're picking people that have seen you at your high point moments in your life. You're people that have been with you through the low points and have seen you get through that. Those people have perspective. So people that have seen you go through different challenges, different highs, different lows. And most importantly, it's people that you trust. Don't go to somebody that you have a on the fence relationship with, contentious relationship, not somebody who's very, very, very intentionally go to people that know you well and have seen you operate across different areas of your life.
And now for just a quick break. You've heard me talk about some of my favorite social media tools on the show, and one of them is a tool called Metricool. Metricool allows you to plan, analyze, and grow your digital presence all in one place. From websites to LinkedIn to YouTube, you can track everything that you're doing online and see just what's working and what isn't. Check out Metricool today at katiebrinkley.live/cool.
Just a note, if you use the links I provide, I may receive compensation.
All right, let's get back to the show. We've been talking about unmuted a lot, and for those that maybe are not familiar, I mean, I'm a huge Rachel fan. I've been following you on LinkedIn forever, so it's awesome to have you on the podcast. But if people aren't familiar with what unmuted is, can you explain what the concept around unmuted is and why it's so important, especially for entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Yeah, sure. So to round out because you had asked about a specific story, I'll just very quick tie a bow on that. What happened, the catalyst after I burned out, I started opening up to people more. So for me, a lot of unmuting is opening up, it is sharing vulnerably, it is being willing to allow people to come in and put the mirror on us and be honest about what we see instead of running away from it and staying in denial. It's about being willing to deal with the feelings that come up, like the feelings of shame and the feelings of fear and the feelings of sadness and, inner disappointment or inner betrayal that we feel. So that might be working with coaches, working with therapists. And I started sharing my journey. So I went from being this picture perfect wellness person who ate lots of kale and drank all the smoothies to being somebody who talked about burning out while I was in the middle of figuring out how to recover from it. I didn't wait until I got to the other end of the process. And I think that's what we're often waiting to do. Let me wait until this is all tied up with a bow very nicely. And then I have a really, really clean before and after story. And I told the messy middle story. And I, for the first time in my life, noticed how much that resonated with people. Because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we don't want people to see our process because we're going to, at some point in that process, look like we don't know what we're doing. And we think people can't see that because then they will think less of us. What it actually does is it humanizes us and it makes us more relatable. And it makes people trust us more because they see, oh, this is somebody who is honest. This is somebody who's really being authentic. Now I'm interested. Now I'm drawn to them. So the muting part is that a lot of us, we silence ourselves in different ways. We don't express what we think, want, need, or feel. And we do it for the reasons we shared earlier, for reasons of fear. And when we go through that, there's often a deep pain that we experience. We can have psychological symptoms of this. We can have like anxiety because we feel like there's a misalignment between who we want to be and who we're actually showing up as. There can be a sense of self-betrayal that comes up again when we know this is what I'm capable of, but I'm afraid to let people see it. I'm okay being noticed, but I'm really afraid of being deeply known. And so I see those kinds of dynamics coming up. And so we silence ourselves, we suppress ourselves in certain ways. It prevents us from having the impact that we are meant to have, and it prevents us from feeling deeply fulfilled inside. So my intent in helping people to unmute themselves is to recognize that, you are one of one. There is nobody that has ever lived or who ever will live that has the exact combination, skills, perspectives, experience, voice, talents, insights, wisdom, stories, processes, pathways that you have had. Nobody else. And so if you let doubt get in the way of you doing the thing that you are meant to do, you are robbing people of the opportunity to experience a unique gift, a unique package that nobody has ever had and that nobody ever will have. And so you are robbing the world of a significant contribution if you get in your head too much and decide that you are not good enough. Therefore, you are not going to share all of those things I just mentioned. So to think of it as, I like the shift I want people to make is, and that I like to invite people to make is what becomes possible. Best case scenario, what becomes possible if I stop suppressing, silencing, shrinking, sabotaging myself, and I start showing up more fully. And I'm happy to share a story about that, but I'll pause there. That for me is an invitation of what becomes possible, not what could go wrong.
Well, and I think that's, well, human nature to immediately start thinking. I mean, from the caveman days, like, oh, well, what could possibly happen if I do this, and think about the negative things that, well, I could get eaten by a bear. I could, well, that's way back, but I mean, it's not like a social media post kind of, I could get eaten by a bear, but I mean, those are the instant, like, well, these are all the negatives that could happen.
Yeah.
I want to hear your story, but I also want to hear, like, what is a powerful habit that someone can start implementing daily so that they can start showing up more confidently?
I mean, here's the thing. Confidence is the byproduct of action. So you get more confident by doing the thing that you don't want to do. And I don't know what that thing is for everyone listening. Anyone who's listening to this has a specific thing that you are not doing, whether it's creating content, putting video out, writing blog posts, reaching out to people, letting a certain aspect of who you are. Maybe you're kind of goofy and you want to wear, my brother's a realtor. I know a lot of realtors listen to this. My brother is an absolute animal. The amount of times he has gotten drones to come film him diving into pools or being on jet skis or doing whatever ridiculous things, dressed in suits, just to get a look. He's a total goofball, and he owns it. He owns the fact that he is like permanently like this. And I love that. And for me, when I think about it, part of it is thinking through what is something unique about who you are, how you look, the experience, the set of experiences that you've had, the perspective that you bring, the types of clients you've served, the talent you have, and how can you more intentionally weave that into how you are positioning yourself online and how you are interacting with your clients. And I'll give you an example of what this looks like. A big way I muted myself growing up was singing. I loved singing as a child, but I did not do it publicly because I was very shy. Through a series of a bunch of different events, I got to the point where I put myself out there a little more with my voice. And I started singing, posting videos on LinkedIn of me singing bits of songs during the start of the pandemic because, people needed a little bit of Hakuna Matata when they were having a bad day. And something, I needed to do it for myself as much as anybody because singing brings me joy. And I started writing music and releasing music about 2.5 years ago. And I have posted videos of snippets of singing online. And I was at an event. I got called up. There was a lull in the agenda, 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night. The band wasn't ready. And somebody in the audience knew that I sang, the MC. And she said, "Rachel, come up and sing for us." And as much of a performer as I am on the stage, like speaking,
my stomach just dropped when you said that. I was like, oh God, I don't know what I would do.
I sat in my seat. I was like, what if I pretend to not be in the room? Because it was a dark room. What if nobody knows that I'm here? Meanwhile, 3 days earlier, I had given a 15-minute speech to my colleagues, other speakers in the room, about how to unmute your magic. And I had sung the song "Believe in You," that my fourth original song, at the end of the talk. So I had just given that talk.
Yeah.
If you are not going to live out your own message, you cannot ask anybody else to do it either. You have to be one of the greatest examples of the message that you are delivering. And so I knew that. And I knew I had to stand up and say yes. I refer to it as accepting the invitation. You get an invitation to do something. You think, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not qualified. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I don't have enough experience. Nonsense. The people that get somewhere are the people that say yes before they feel any of those things. So I stood up and I had a microphone. Somebody brought a microphone over to me and I literally said into the microphone, "This is my worst nightmare." And then I went over into the center of this, under a spotlight, and sang "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" a cappella and crushed it. I committed to that moment fully. I messed up the lyrics at one point. Nobody knew. The band started playing behind me. I stopped singing. I went back in. It was like a whole jumbled thing. But I posted that video on LinkedIn. And would you believe it? Somebody sent me an intake form asking me about a keynote because I saw your video online. I'm not even sure how I saw it, but we are looking for the perfect keynote speaker for our conference, and your message and how you combine all these things together is a perfect fit. And I just booked that keynote last week for September of this year.
Oh man. That's so true. Like, I've had clients reach out and they're like, "Hey, I knew I had to work with you. I don't even know how I saw you or where I saw you, but I just knew, like, after hearing you speak, that's the type of person I want to work with." And if you're not holding the microphone, I can't stress enough that holding the microphone has changed everything for my business. Just say what you will about Clubhouse, but that was huge for me in getting clarity on what it was that I believed in, what my differentiator was, that I did know what I was talking about, and I could help people. And the more that you're willing to talk, I feel like the clearer you'll get in your messaging, and that's just it's gonna change your business. I really believe that. So I love that story so much. With, man, I can't believe it's already we're running out of time. But what do you feel if someone's been playing small? If someone is listening to this and they are saying like, man, okay, maybe I do just need to create that Instagram reel. Maybe I need to stop just using the generic Canva graphics. Maybe I should need to, maybe I'll start a podcast, whatever it is. If someone feels like they've been playing small, what is one action that you think they should take and to start unmuting themselves and really propelling their success forward?
I mean, I experiment all the time in keynotes. Yesterday, I've never opened with singing a song. My coach that I work with said, Rachel, it's a unique thing that you do. It's a bold move. It gives you instant credibility. I think you should open, because I'm like, I can close with it because I build up to it and I tell the story and then it feels natural. But to get out there and not say a word and just start singing a cappella on a microphone, oh my gosh, no. And I did it, and it totally worked. It totally worked. And it was an experiment. I could have fallen flat on my face, and maybe it wouldn't have worked, but you will not know until you try. And so you can overthink something 78 different times, and you will not get any more confident about your ability to do it. So at some point, you have to take small, calculated risks, and don't let the first time you do it. It's not like you look at a little kid and they're learning to walk and they start to get up and they take 2 steps and then they fall and you think, well, we're done with you. That's it. No more teaching you how to walk. But that's what we do to ourselves. We say, I did one thing different. It got 2 likes. Nobody responded. Guess that doesn't work. You didn't give it enough time. So much of it, I like to tell people to allow the unfolding. Allow the unfolding. These things are processes. They take time. Notice what works. Do something a little goofy or dorky or or bold.
I yo-yoed on stage once. So, I mean, and it was a hit. I'm right there with you. You never know. Like, I didn't establish credibility by yo-yoing at all, but I worked the yo-yo into the talk. But it's so true. What is it that makes you different? I love that.
Yeah. And even sharing, something people don't do so often. I see this. I am a perfect example too. I don't do it enough either. If you have gotten a glowing testimonial from a client, instead of just putting up one of those generic 5 stars, 6 lines of what Jennifer said about how great of a realtor you are, tell a story about it. Just say, I got, if I were speaking at a conference, for instance, and somebody did something as a result of something I said, I was at this conference and I asked these 2 questions. And as a result of the 2 questions I asked, Lauren said that it prompted her and her friends to have a conversation. And now they're going to start a podcast together because of these 2 questions. Here's the 2 questions I asked. Like, for instance, that would be, tell a story around why the testimonial matters. Or I was dealing with this client that came up and it was this was the situation. This was the problem. I've learned through the speaking company that I work with, a training company called Impact 11, that there's something called a PCT. The P is the problem. What's the problem you're solving? Clearly state that, and the audience for whom you're solving it. Credibility. What is your unique credibility and positioning for you to be able to solve that problem? And transformation. What is the transformation that you provide? Mm-hmm. And why should people care about that? And when you frame what you do through the lens of a PCT, you can more effectively communicate the value that you bring and get people to buy in more readily. So part of it is really thinking about, what is your unique PCT? What is your unique value proposition? What is the transformation, the promise that you are providing? And are you consistently communicating that?
Man, Rachel, I could talk to you all day, but sadly, we have come to the close of today's episode. If people, you speak all before we hit record here, like you are, 2 places last week, you're going somewhere else next week. You're always on the move, taking the stage. If people want to connect with you, like I said, I follow you on LinkedIn. I've been following you forever. But if people want to connect with you, learn more about what you do and all the things, what is the best way for people to find you?
LinkedIn's probably the best way because I I try to keep up with my DMs. But if someone sends me a unique message how people says connect, who are you? Tell me who you are. So if someone says, I heard you on Katie's podcast and I really enjoyed this, would love to connect further, or we have this event that we put on. I've spoken at, Florida Association of Realtors. I've spoken at different events, not just in that industry, but in a lot of different industries. And so if somebody sends me a message on there, then it's a way to connect more easily, because then you can see their background and who they are and where they're from and find points of commonality before you talk. That, or my website is my name, racheldruckenmiller.com. And then I'm also on Instagram at Unmuted Life, YouTube, Spotify, Rachel Druckenmiller. You just search that. It's a weird enough name.
Well, and if you're listening to this podcast, you'll obviously love listening to more of Rachel on hers. So be sure to connect with her, follow her on LinkedIn, send that, unique message, that unique connection request. And Rachel, I really can't thank you enough for joining us on today's episode. This was awesome.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me, Katie.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.